Hey, yo, everybody. Sorry we are late today. And we will have to be more condensed. Or what? I have a stream in an hour and 15. So
It's fine. We never go that long on these anyways. But the important thing is that we're here and we're both in funny outfits.
I am not in a funny outfit. I am in a lovely outfit.
I'm in a lovely outfit. What were you saying about my outfit? Is my outfit not
You're
lovely?
the one who said it was funny. I'm just saying. Don't call mine
I think
funny.
collectively they're funny.
But
I would
I
like to say
aspire
that
for this to just reflect my daily wardrobe. So
Sam has so much faith in my eyeliner game
hey,
that she
JC.
did the countdown when I had one eye done, and I would like.
Hey, I said I was gonna start it. You said yes.
I did. I was like, damn, she has so much faith in me. And I was gonna do my hair, but we're just doing this, which I had nice hair yesterday, and this is brushed.
Thank you.
So we're fine. I'm trying to find. I have like a million little lights, and I can't find any of them. I say as I find one.
I just want to say I read this book Friday.
You did. You're so good at this.
I am.
I feel
You
no
should
shame.
start reading the next book today.
Yeah, potentially. Should go post on mine like the little YouTube.
I did not, JC. What were your comments? Oh, because of the time. So what happened was CB was going to read it over the weekend, and then she got a migraine, which she should understand that migraines are very prone to hitting when you don't need them the most.
Yeah, I was so not I'm on your channel. I was like, why won't it like let me post a poll?
Oh, I do. I need to post my poll too. So it's essentially, CB kept messaging me. Can we push it back an hour? Can we push it back 15 minutes?
Yeah, this one was 15 minutes because I'm like, I'm so close to finishing it. I did get emotional as I was reading, and that gave me pause.
Yes. Oh, okay. I went to my channel. I see the comments. Yes, I will be doing 2 streams tonight. I will right after book talk. I will have my regular Monday live as well.
And
I gave eyeballs, then said knock knock, and then asked if this meant you were streaming twice tonight. To which RP had the same question. Yes. I have no issues streaming twice in a row, especially since they're going to be 2 very different types of streams.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will do our intro to the book club.
Cool.
Sorry, I have to say this so that I don't forget. I think I should always do the intro for your books, and you should do the intro for my books, because then we switch up who does the summary.
I like that.
I don't know why we didn't think of that before, but I just thought of that now. So,
all right. All of our tickers.
Huh?
All of our tickers are gone. I will just add one.
Oh, no. Go click the folder. Go to my assets.
Yes.
I'm starting to organize the assets by stream type so that it's easier to find our things. Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, y'all. Yes, welcome. This is the book talk hosted by me and CB, where we each pick a book a month. Usually, the first book of the month is CB's pick. The second book is mine. If we have enough time for 3 books, I don't know. We might switch it up. But either way, it always goes. We always switch up. I'm the even numbers. I'm the odd numbers. She's the evens. And so this was her pick. Our only rule for which books we pick is that one of us has to like the book, or has to have liked the book. So there will be some level of defense for the book.
Yes.
I don't like conversations where everyone's just trashing a book. I wanted to talk about books I loved and books other people love. So
exactly. This book talks selection is The False Prince by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I read this book when I was 10, because my librarian was going to read it to the class, and she was like, there is a twist in this book, and it caught me totally by surprise. It's amazing. And my little 10-year-old self was like, okay. And she read like the first chapter to us in library class. I don't know. I remember sitting on a rug and she was reading. She was like, okay, and we'll continue next week. And I was like, no. I'm not doing this a chapter a week. This will take me. No. So I checked out the book from the library. I read the whole thing that night. It changed my brain chemistry. And I returned it the next day. This book is about an orphan named Sage who is recruited by a noble named Connor, along with two other boys, but three other boys. Again, okay, spoilers start here. There's a third boy, but he's shot in the back the first night to prove that, like, Connor is down to kill for this. This is serious business.
So to clarify, 4 boys were recruited. One boy was moitered when he tried to leave.
In front of the other boys. Rip Latimer. So Sage, Tobias, and Ronan?
Yes.
Literally just finished. Rodin. Not Rodent and not Ronan, but Rodin. Are taken back to Connor's mansion. He's like, I have a plan. The fate of our kingdom, Carthia, is at stake. And his plan is to train one of them to replace, to claim to be the thought dead Prince Jaren, who was killed. Like, his ship was attacked by pirates and went down. Everyone's like, he's dead. Not 10 years ago. When he was 10 years old, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Now he's going to train these 3 boys to be the replacement because, reveal, the current king and queen and the crown prince of Carthia have died. And it's a secret. And it's going to be revealed to everyone in 2 weeks. And at that point, the end of the 2 weeks is when Connor plans to present one of these boys as the lost Prince Jaren and have him, inherit the throne, give Connor, who's like a low-level noble, or like relatively low level to where he wants to be, as like the head noble, and give him a bunch of power and stuff. And the other 2 boys will be killed. And he trains them in like reading, because Rodin can't read, matters of state, horseback riding, sword play, like cleans them up so they look like a prince and stuff. But our boy Sage is
not having it.
He's mischievous. He's like, I don't want to be under anyone's control. He like he's a thief. He like has sticky fingers. He likes sneaking out. He is, as a 10-year-old, the love of my life. I was so in love with this boy.
Also, for clarity, this is a middle grade, so the boys are all like around 14.
Yeah, they're 14 years old. Our Sage is 14. He's about to turn 15.
So when Stevie was 10, she was into older boys.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracked. Well, Sage, and then there's another book called Mark of the Thief. I think it's called Mark of the Thief. Also has a thief character who I was in love with, and then Leo Valdez, who gives off the same vibes, who I was in love with.
Leo and Sage do have very similar vibes.
Yeah, it's my type.
I see this now.
Created by this book, I think, and honestly, I was reading Here's Olympus around the same age. Anyways, but so the boys are being trained. Damn, JC. Not in real life. Fictional boys only. Thank you very much. Mostly. And I will not claim to never have a crush on one of my older brother's friends growing up. But so the 3 boys are being trained to be a prince. Sage is not following along like a good little soldier, and he gets punished for it. Like, he gets whipped at one point. And there's like Yeah, but it comes time for Connor to like them all choose a boy and head off to the capital. And he chooses Rodin, and then Sage reveals the skill of being able to flip a coin across his fingers. And Connor's like, oh fuck, that was the prince's like skill. Like he did that all of the time. Like he's obviously going to have to be able to do it now. Like, and Rodin can't do it, and the other kid, Tobias, even though he like was blackmailed by Sage to be shitty at it because he was definitely going to be chosen because he tried to kill Sage lightly. Threatened him with a knife, cut him a bit, but anyways, it was no longer an option. He can't do it either. And then, but Sage can. And it's not like a trainable skill. So he's like, fuck, okay, Sage is going to be the prince. And once Sage, and, but the thing is, Sage is the prince. He is the missing prince. When his ship was attacked by pirates 4 years ago, he wasn't on it because he like went, I'm not being sent to a boarding school, and like
he was a little shit. Like,
yeah, I love him. Shit. Slipped off the ship before the ship even took off.
No one expected him to be himself.
Yeah, climb out a window on a ship.
Climb out a window. Wait a second. Don't we know of a main character in a novel you might be working on that climbs out of windows?
Look, as I read more and more of this book, I'm like, oh, this influenced me as a human being. And as a writer, really both. So much influence.
Like, books don't influence people. Do they? You didn't read enough.
Yeah, I'm like, no, this is a fundamental shaping of who I am as a person, apparently. And so Jaren Sage, when he was 10, snuck off the ship. The ship went down. It was attacked by pirates. And his older brother found him, and then his dad like rolled up and was like, hey, you're gonna remain dead, actually, for the good of the country, and made Sage feel like super unwanted and stuff by accident, maybe, and was like, hey, to prevent war, you need to remain MIA. And Sage was like in awful orphanages and like having a terrible life until his family died, and Connor picked him up by accident.
Still having a horrible life.
Still having a horrible life. His life did not improve at the end of the book.
So well, I mean, at the end it did, but not until the end, unless I misheard you.
No, I stand by what I said. His life is, I mean, it improved, but it's not great. His whole family's dead. He has no one that he loves and trusts, and he can't even be like,
but he found out that his family loves him and stuff, which is better.
Yeah, but they're gone. Sorry. I just like, as I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is such a tragedy. I think this is the first time, like, as a kid, the inherent tragedy of a story, like, I was reading one and it like hit me.
Could be.
And I'm like, oh, there is no like, and everything's fixed at the end, or like it was all worth it. Like, no, we made the best of an awful situation.
Yes.
And yeah, so it's revealed to the reader that he is the prince. Connor takes the boys, all of them, to go to the capital because Sage is like, hey, they're coming with us. And Connor's like, oh, they're a threat to the secret. And Sage is like, they're coming with. Because he is a good boy. And he knows that if they're left behind, they will be murdered.
Yeah.
Immediately, because they have this secret that Sage is a false prince. They get there. Tons of other nobles and stuff are bringing their own Prince Jarens to like show like this is the real Prince Jaren.
I love that the noble guy who arranged this is supposed to be like really smart and cunning and have like arranged all this other shit, did not once consider somebody else might try to
Exactly.
an impersonator.
Spread the rumor purposefully that Prince Jaren might be alive, and I'm like,
right?
He
spread the rumor so that when he presented Jaren, it wouldn't just come out of nowhere, and didn't once think, oh, somebody else will try to train a boy.
Too. Or that, like, yeah, which is just, and the fact that they rolled up to the gate and they're like looking for a password, and Sage just sits there like,
I know the password.
You know, he doesn't say anything, and Connor's like, oh, how could they not let me in? So they sneak in through the sewers. There's like a little showdown because one of Connor's evil servants is like, I want to become a noble. Like, I choose you, Rodin, fight. And Rodin and Sage do a little, whatever. The evil servant dies. Rodin runs away. And then they continue on to the castle, and then it switches to Connor's POV, and he's like, haha, I'm so smart. This is my plan. I'm better than all of them. In just a second, I say that Prince Jaren's arrived. Like, he is alive. You should trust me. He'll be here shortly. And then in the other room where there's all like the peasantry and like normal people, not like the top 20 nobles, or not normal people, but a bunch of nobles, like 200 people, Sage Jaren has just walked on to like the throne dais and is just like standing there waiting in front of so many people, and everyone's like, that's the motherfucking missing prince. And one of the like older nobles that like oversees the kingdom and stuff approaches, and Connor is like, what's happening? But like, it's all going to my master plan. Like, he's so like, and Sage is like, hey, it's me, Jaren. And the old noble's like, why? Like, how? I can't believe my eyes. Like, how do I know it's you? And Sage pulls out a piece of imitator's gold from his pocket, which was stolen from him earlier by Connor.
Oh, yeah, like,
and the reason that Sage ended up getting whipped because he stole it back from Connor.
That little imitator's gold triggered the like biggest power struggle between Sage and Connor, which is the guy who bought
the evil noble guy who thinks he's smart.
Yeah, because Connor took it because he was like, I can't have the returned prince walking around with a shitty, like, fake gold. That's trashy. And Sage is like, excuse the fuck out of you. That's mine.
Yeah, that is mine.
Yeah, steals it, hides it, and like...
Yeah, then it turns out that the old noble like sees this, and he's like, this is imitator's gold. And Sage is like, yes, this gold is fake and I am real. And the old man pulls out a note from the king that was given to him right after Prince Jaren went missing, and he opens it up like for the first time.
He's been taking care of that note for 4 years.
Having it in his pocket for 4 years.
Well, just to be fair, he might have kept it in a like secret place, but just had it this night since
because he knows something's gonna happen.
Death, so
but it's sad either way.
It is sad either way that he's been.
And then he unfurls it, and the imitator's gold was the last thing that the king in disguise ever gave to Sage, and was like, hold on to this.
Yeah,
like, one
the most heartbreaking part of this book to me is that the king had, after fake news of Jared's death had gone around, the king had visited Jaren in disguise. Well, first his brother found him.
Yeah.
And then the king visited him in disguise and was basically like, if you're found alive and come back, then we will have to start war with the country that like orchestrated the attack, because we will have proof that country orchestrated it and that it wasn't just random pirates. But as long as we can't find evidence that you're alive or dead, I can put off the war.
Yeah.
And Sage internalizes this as my family doesn't want me anymore because I'm that big of a fuck up.
Yeah. I'm not worth and his dad says a couple things that Sage interprets as you're too much trouble.
Yeah, because he's 10, right?
Yeah, he's 10, which is
he has a sense of princely duty in that yes, he understands war is bad and that preventing war is more important than trying to prove himself worthy of his family, so he just sort of accepts it. But I was like, oh, this baby.
And the fact that his mom never knew that he didn't die.
He did. She's
we can't tell her because she will just go fuck everyone else. I want my son, which
she would. She would be like, war?
Because she was like, we're going to go to war. We need to prepare. And the dad's like, no, we would need to try and keep peace as much as possible. And I'm like, Queen Erin. Okay, so he takes out the gold and the old, or the imitator's gold, and the old man is like, the note says someone who a person showing up and claiming the most insignificant rock is worth more than everything, or worth gold. That is your prince. That is Jaren. And then he's like, oh, I'm so happy you're alive because I did see you grow up. He has one semi-family member here. And then everyone's like, yay! And then he's crowned king. And then it's like, fuck you, Connor. You tried to get me killed. You tried to murder me 4 years ago, which Connor revealed to him.
Yeah, he was
oh yeah, because I tried to kill the prince.
He's like, I know the prince is dead because I'm the one who set the pirates on them, and I have the prince's crown.
Yeah, it was on the ship because
Sage is like, my F you, because Sage purposely left his crown behind as a way to rebel as a 10-year-old and be like, I'm not a prince anymore.
Yeah, because he was being sent off to boarding school kind of, because he was being mischievous, and he took that as his family not wanting him anymore, and then he left the crown behind. He's like, you don't want me, I don't want to be part of this family. And then everything fell apart. But yeah, so he's like, Connor, you tried to kill me 4 years ago. You killed the orphan boy known as Latimer. And I was like, yes, justice for Latimer.
Latimer was just like, I have a chronic illness that might kill me, so I don't think I'm up for pretending to be the prince. And that is why he was killed.
I didn't even know it was the prince at that. Did he know it was the prince? Or he's like, I'm not up for doing something. I'm not up for.
No, I think at that point
they did reveal it was the prince.
No, I don't think. No, because he didn't reveal that till the dinner. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
He revealed that they were going to do something.
Yeah, later. Latimer's already dead at that point. Latimer dies in the first 20 pages. Which
I'm sorry. It's been half a week since I read it.
It's okay. And then he's like, yeah, you killed the orphan boy known as Latimer. And you also killed the king, the queen, and the crown prince. Because he did. He's like, here, I have evidence. I found this fucking poison in your office, you fucking idiot.
And he researched in the library.
So
I'll break in real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
To the summary. One of the things I loved most about this book is the way the unreliable narrator is written, which I think is, as I find with most unreliable narrators, the people who don't see the twist coming trust the narrator too much.
Yeah.
Because there are definitely gaps in time when Sage said, oh, I did this, or oh, I did that.
He didn't notice me sneaking out that night.
Yeah, so he's like,
no idea what he did that
night. Or I was on the roof after sneaking out and everything. But he never tells you what he did. So then later at this point, he reveals that when he was sneaking out to go research kinds of poison in the library.
Yeah, to try to I know this guy killed my family. Or he's almost positive.
Yeah. And then he found the poison in the office.
And that is so well done. But
you will also do.
Then he's king. Connor's set to be executed. He has a friend named Imogen, and she was one of Connor's servants because Connor had a thing for her mom, but her mom did not like him, and so her mom got married to someone else, had her, and she was taken as a servant after her dad died and in debts and stuff, which were very shady. And he like definitely was gonna be a child predator. So she pretended to be mute and like stupid is one of the things said. And so he wouldn't want her, but still like had her on as a servant. And she's very clever and can speak. And her and Sage like bond over lies and all sorts of stuff. And she takes care of him when he's wounded and tells him he's an idiot. And I really like their relationship because it's not explicitly romantic. Or even like
they're friends.
Yeah, they're friends. They're ambiguous care for each other, and I enjoy that.
They're friends that could grow to more as they grow older, or could stay how it is. So.
Exactly. Which is just, and I feel like they're both aware of that, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then he's like, sorry, I lied, and because she was mad at him that he was going to pretend to be the prince. And he's like, please don't be mad at me after what.
That's not why she was mad.
That he was going to live a life of lies. That was why she was mad.
No, not. Wait. Is Imogen the princess or?
No. Imogen is the servant girl.
Yeah, that's not why she was mad.
Why do you think she was mad?
She said why she was mad. She was like, because as part of his conditions wasn't just to take the boys, it was to take her too. And she was mad that he was controlling her life because she had a cushiony job and everything where she was, and he was like, she had a cushiony job where she was, and then he was like, you have to come with me, and she's like, no, I have it really good here. Like, yeah, they might hit me and stuff, but it's not that bad. And then like she was just mad because he was making her go with. I think he was taking away her choice.
That was part of it, but her anger also came from him living a lie.
No, because she understood that he needed to do that to survive. The princess was mad at him for lying, but Imogen, from what I remember, never cared that he was lying.
She did care. She was like, I wish you had run away, like, rather than live this lie.
Yeah, but she wasn't mad about that. She was the reason she was like that to me.
Mad as in like frustrated for him. Like, I'm mad at you because you're making this to me a bad decision.
But that was an empathy thing. I took that as an empathy thing because she was living a lie.
Yeah,
but she was pissed about him taking her with him.
Yes, she was mad for a host of reasons, but the taking her with her got resolved when she was like, oh yeah, I couldn't live the rest of my life there.
Yeah. And then she just expressed frustration to him. Okay, so maybe it was just the way it was worded, but I'm like, she wasn't mad at him about having to lie. She was that
she was frustrated with him even after she's like, I'm glad you got me out of there, but I still can't believe you're going to live this life of a lie. And that's when he's like, you have to promise to like give me a chance to speak tomorrow and like call me by my name.
But that, I don't know, that still didn't ring to me like she was mad at him about that, just sort of like frustrated for him, which is different.
Okay, I still read it as anger, but I think part of it is like frustrated for him and for herself, and like the whole situation, her being angry about it, and then like being angry to him.
Later, the princess, she was mad.
Yeah, she's mad, and I kind of
lying. She was like, "You motherfucker!" And he's like,
"Yeah,
I had a plan. You weren't in it. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry."
So he apologized to Imogen. Imogen, like, he retroactively makes her dad a noble, so she has like a standing. And
to JC. Yeah, she didn't say it in the exact same words I used, but she definitely used the word control too.
Yeah.
Because she was pissed that he was trying to control her life. And
her whole life has already been controlled.
Yeah. She's like, everybody control. I've never had like a choice, and like you're just gonna do that to me like everybody else. And
yeah, but he couldn't. He was being a little insensitive, but he couldn't explain. He's like, no, this is actually going to work out, and he's like, no, there's more going on here than you understand. And she's like, what the fuck does that mean? He's
he
like,
was really. I felt he was really trying to say, I know what's best for you, without saying, I know what's best for you. Because he's like, I don't want to be a controlling dick.
exactly. And she's like, are you saying I know what's best for you? And he's like, no, there's literally something I don't know that I can't tell you. And then he's like, she's going to be mad that I didn't just tell her because she shared her biggest secret with me that she could, and I didn't share back. But the relationship's like semi-resolved. And then the princess is betrothed to whoever gets the throne next.
So the princess was betrothed to the crown prince. She had visited the manor where the boys were being trained, and they were disguised as servants.
Well, she like specifically wasn't betrothed to like the older brother Darius. She was betrothed to whoever sat on the throne. So if it was that one scummy noble, she would have to marry him too. But it was just whoever got the throne next. But it was the crown prince was probably who it's going to be.
No, we were saying the same thing.
Okay.
I just wasn't referring to a specific person.
Okay. And then like she had visited Connor's mansion, and Sage had like caught her attention because he let her know that there was a smear of dirt on her cheek and no one else did. And she appreciated that honesty. And then she was like, is my like betrothed and his family dead? And Sage didn't lie, but he didn't tell the truth. And then she's like, is Prince Jaren alive? And he again didn't really answer. And then she's like, should I just return home or hope and still go to the castle, risking that my heart is broken? He's like, hope is always the best answer, knowing that she's going to have her heart broken. And then
she's like, I don't have any reason to risk my life for you, man.
Yeah. And then he rolls up at the castle, and she's like, you lied to me. And he's like, no, I didn't. I've never lied to you. And she's like, it's no better not telling me the truth. And he's like, okay. There's like no response to that, but like, girl,
like, I have no reason to,
because she was truly in love with his older brother, or as like, far as that, like, I'm like, they're kids, and I'm like, wait, no, be nice.
Well, like, his brother was, how old was his brother?
I didn't say, but she was 3 years younger than his older brother.
Yeah, so
he was probably a young adult, or like
he was probably late teens, early 20s when he died.
I think she's like 16 or 17 in the story. Yeah. Kids. And that's like the end of the book, is him being like, well, for this night, let's party. We can worry about everything else later. And he like puts on a facade, not a facade, but like it's definitely.
I just want to point out he was very badass when he did everything, because he like came out and everyone's like, who dat? And he pulls out his sword, like Prince Jaren's sword that he hid under a floorboard in his room to like prove his identity, basically. Yeah. That was like his first step. And then he looks at the thrones and he's like, damn, my chair is missing. How long has my chair been gone?
Yeah, like how long did
they motherfuckers
to get rid of my chair?
That's when he like reveals his identity to the one guy, and then so he's just like badass about all of it, and he's like, yeah, so family's dead, I'm king now. Someone else is like, oh, but don't you need a regent? And he's like, I'm king now.
And then he makes it very clear, he's like, if there was anyone else I could trust with the throne, I would not be king, but I can't trust anyone else.
I can't trust any of you bitches.
Yeah, which is woo, okay. Because it was the old man nobles like, hey, you're still young, and he's like, no. So yeah, that's the end of the summary.
He's like, yeah, I'm still young, and if somebody hadn't murdered my family, I wouldn't have to be.
Exactly. What do you think, Sam?
Oh, hold on, I want to catch up on chat real
Okay.
quick. Going back to the thing because they was all patient. Okay, the star comments up here. Yes, I scheduled it like right before we went live. I thought I scheduled it this morning, but I didn't. So that's there. Also, JC, this touched my heart. Thank you. I love seeing you every Monday too. Damn, on night 1, yes.
Yeah. No.
It wasn't even the like full night. It was they were about to feed them dinner, but they were like, we didn't want to waste food.
And they said there was no reason to waste food feeding him because they always knew they were going to kill him.
Also, RP, not surprised you in the older. Oh, RP and JC both said it, and then JC said it as a compliment. CB, it just seems like someone your age would not be mature enough for you because women mature faster than men because society makes
them. I was like, well.
CB's excitement for this book is like, yes, good. That is part of the purpose of book talk. Our book talks.
Thank you.
4 years is a long time to hold on to a note. I know, right?
I mean, if your king gives it to you and be like, hey, you know my son that went missing, presumed dead. If anyone
would put that note in the safest of boxes. And
that
box.
I would have looked at it beforehand. It seemed like the way he said it.
You didn't.
I know, but the way he said it, he was like, if I would look at this note. And I'm like, have you not looked at the note?
I think he was just being fancy. I think it was just fancy talk.
Okay.
Just yeah.
We already answered that.
Hey yo, and welcome. We're doing good.
It is an interesting book.
I will say, this was my first time reading it. Possibly because of when it came out. I don't remember when it came out, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and I will definitely be recommending it to all of my children because it feels like they would all enjoy it. I love Sage. I knew immediately that Sage was full of shit because of the way the narrative was written. I was like, I can't trust this boy as far as
age 10. Because my librarian had said that there was a big reveal, and so as soon as I opened the book, I'm like, I'm looking for a big reveal, and it's like, there's a missing prince, and I'm like, you're the prince. And just the entire book, every time I'd be like, I think he's the prince. Like me at age 10 being like, he's the prince.
I think part of the thing that kept it cemented in my mind that he was the real prince was how much he wanted to fuck up everything
that
I'm like, this boy is a survivalist. This boy has been such a survivalist. He's like traveled all over. He's been to various different orphanages. This boy knows how to survive. He's smart. He's got a good survival instinct. There has to be a reason that he would not be doing his best to survive in this situation.
To escape, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, because he has multiple chances to escape throughout the entire.
Yeah, there was like one scene where he said if he left, then Connor would hunt him down no matter where he went to like kind of wave off, oh, this is why he's not escaping. But I'm like,
I think there was a point later where he's like, he also is like looking out the window and being like, Carthia would suffer. And I'm like,
why would it suffer, Sage? Why? Why is it going to suffer?
What could you do to make it not suffer? What's so special about you?
Also, after he was like tortured and stuff, he like looks at Connor and he says, I am your prince. He says, I am your prince. And he's like, are you my prince or Carthia's prince? And he's like, I'm Carthia's prince. He's like, I need you to be my prince. And he's like, I am. And I'm like, right now, he's Jared.
Yeah.
Like, also, when they kept saying, it's like, oh, you look the least like the prince, but you act the most like him. I'm like, they're like, oh,
and then he gets a haircut, and everyone's like, oh shit, we were wrong. He does look like the prince.
And they were like, we could use hair dyes and stuff to darken his hair. And I'm like, who says he didn't use hair dyes to lighten his hair?
Yeah,
also,
and then
why aren't his roots showing?
And then they said like oh, what's the plan? Like, someone will notice you're lightening my hair. And they're like, oh, like, over the next year, we'll just, like, slowly use less and less hair dye. Like, it darkened naturally. And I'm like, it did. It darkened naturally.
That's how hair works.
You can say, like, literally when he's looking at the portrait of himself as, like, a 9-year-old, he's like, oh, and it has dark hair underneath the light blonde. And I'm like, because it's darkening. And it kept doing so. Yeah. But, so you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I liked it.
I'm glad. What were some issues with the book?
I didn't really have any. Look, I know I was real mean to your last pick, but I'm an easy bitch to please.
No, it's fine. My last pick deserved to be mean too.
And this is a middle grade novel, and I honestly think there are a lot of middle grade novels written better than a lot of adult novels. So
yeah. This novel, as I was reading it, I'm saying it here, this is recorded, this would be a really fucking good movie.
It would. Well, I think I'd want it as a mini series because it's in one book.
Just like the whole thing, especially like the audience not knowing things. Like, we're inside Sage's head, but like us not knowing things that you wouldn't get like through a visual medium, I think would still work.
I need the three boys cast to look like I need them to look so much like brothers that I get confused as to which one's on screen sometimes.
Yeah. One's wearing glasses.
Because that happens to me when I'm watching TV shows and the characters are not related sometimes. Yeah. I'm like, why did you typecast?
I need these three boys to look like they could be mistaken for the same person.
And then sometimes they'll cast people and it's like, oh yeah, these two, they could be mistaken for each other. And I'm like,
the Padme Amidala, the Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman thing is wild. Like, the fact that those two women look so much like each other when they were young, and even now. Apparently their mothers got them confused on set when they were both in like costume, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It'd be cool seeing them also like as like maybe aged up a little because Hollywood, but doing like 16 instead of 14. But still like having them be teenagers would be cool. Yeah, it was just, I was very happy it held up. I do want to say that there was like scenes, the pacing of the whole thing is slightly odd because there's so much happening that we don't know about, but not bad. Just in my heart, I want more story because I really enjoy this story. But that's not a problem with the book. That's just...
I was about to say, then that's not a problem with the pacing. That's just, you want more.
I was interested in I noticed a lot in this book that they skimmed over conversations or like pieces of dialogue.
Which I love. I think more adult novels should do that. Even though I love dialogue, sometimes I just...
Are just like, oh, this thing was discussed, but it doesn't matter what they actually said. It's just, this was discussed, let's move on.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting. I'm like, I haven't seen that a lot recently, I feel like.
You don't read a lot of middle grade.
No, I don't. And I was like,
I know that wasn't shade. That was like, so I've talked about this recently on the Monday lives because a lot of the year of favorite through the Nostalgia Train book club, and then a lot of the year of favorites, we like specifically had a month which was like childhood favorites. So for a lot of that was a middle grade or a YA, and children's books, middle grade and YA, take so much more freedom with their prose and their writing style than adult novels I've seen. And so I think a lot of adults need to go back, even if it's not your thing, that's fine. This is for research, not for pleasure. Just for me, it's both though, because I fucking love books in these categories. To just like go back and kind of use that to relearn how to tell a story, not how to write a novel, how to tell a story, because middle grade and YA novels in general, well, we're going to stick to middle grade because YA's got a lot of things, but definitely middle grade novels. They take so much more freedom and so much more liberty because their number one goal is to keep the story entertaining.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here, and I'm glad that like you kind of like picked up on that too, like reading this, because I really do think it'll kind of change a bit or reorient the way we stress about our own narrative.
Yeah, I have issues with underwriting, and so when I'm writing, I'm like, I wish I could just like sum this up in a line. We don't need to see them discussing this. And seeing this do that, I'm like, damn, okay, I'm gonna relax a little with
exactly
myself write out things, and me just be like, no, they talked about this. We're moving on from that. Doesn't really matter.
Sometimes, especially in like the middle grade fantasies, sometimes it's to the point where it's like if there is a conversation written out when I was a kid, that would clue me in that there was foreshadowing somewhere in that conversation. Because otherwise they would not have written the conversation out.
Yeah.
So excuse me. I try to apply that to some adult fantasies, and then I get sad because there wasn't nothing wrong. That conversation was just there for flavor. But I also, if there is a conversation that is entertaining or just there for fun, I don't necessarily see the need to take it out just because it's not doing anything. Because a story should be it should be there for entertainment. That is the purpose of a lot of storytelling. That's not the only purpose of telling stories. Don't anybody come after me for it's like, well, some stories are just cathartic. Yeah, that's fine. They can be that way too.
There can be multiple answers to this question.
One answer fits all.
I think one of my only actual critiques of it, I fucking hate the name Jaren. And I thought maybe I'm an adult now. Maybe I won't hate it as much. No, I still fucking hate it. I'm calling it.
I don't like the name Jaren because it's a grammar term. Like it's spelt differently.
Yeah.
But it's a grammar term for something that was, I think, hard for me to understand in school. And therefore, I like decimals. I grew to hate gerunds. And so every time I heard the word, I was like,
everyone else has a normal. That's not true. A lot of people have normal names. And I wish he was just Jason. And my male lead in my novel is called Jason. And I was sitting there when someone said Prince Jaren, and my eyes read it as Prince Jason, and I had to go back a second. And I was like, oh. But I'm like, it's Jaren? That's not a cool name. Like, I love this book. Jaren's not a cool name. Darius is a cool fucking name. His older brother has a cool name.
I am wrong. I was thinking of another grammar thing. Gerunds are easy. They're just words that end in ing.
Yeah.
That function as a noun. So like swimming is fun.
But yeah. So
I hate how the word sounds.
Yeah. It just sounds and I think the next book still refers to him as Sage. Maybe it calls him Jaren. I don't know.
I'll live with it because that's his name and that's not his fault. And apparently his parents liked it. But
also he says a line. He's like, "Hey, do you think I can slowly like introduce Sage as a nickname?" And I'm like, "Yes, you should."
Connor was like, "No,
no."
But Connor's gone, so he can just be like, "I am King Sage, formerly known as Prince Jaren."
Yeah. That's like a thing, like get a new name when you become king.
It is a thing. Like in England, I think it's mandatory.
Yeah. Fuck off. Yeah. So yeah, I remember I did because of my memories. I read this book. So for context for chat, when I read this book the first time, I finished it, and I think that same night, that first night, I went and I read it again. Looking back at every single instance where he talks about his family or his family's discussed. And so reading it this time when they're like, haha, the king and queen is dead, and him being like, oh, I feel nauseous. Or something like that. There's always an excuse for something else for why he feels terrible, and it's mentioned in the scene.
I know,
but it's always mentioned that he feels awful right after someone mentions like the death of his family. And I'm like, mwah. And it was so cool to read again. Tobias and Rodin are just very interesting characters. I also think I like that they're not broken down into like the one we like and the one we don't like.
No,
Like,
I like how they swapped.
Like they swapped, yeah. And I
Was basically like, so if you win, just don't let me die. That's all I care about. And Sage was like, done. And Tobias is like, I am now your most loyal subject in all the kingdom.
Exactly. And I got something
the throat of anyone who besmirches your honor.
I remember a scene, I think it's going to be in the second book.
And then Rodin.
I remember stuff in the second book which kept getting me confused about a couple things, like what I thought was going to happen. Like my memory's not lining up with where the story was leading.
There's only spoilers for today's book, not today's series.
I'm not saying spoilers.
Okay.
So there was a couple points where I was like kind of confused, but then it all like then I remembered. I was like, oh wait, this is not for a while. Like everything made sense, clicked into place in my head at the end of this book, and I was like, oh okay, that's how that's gonna okay. Gotcha. I had only read up to the but like I messaged Sam or called her as I was reading it, and I was like, I'm remembering every fucking scene. Like everything is like, oh, like coming like in my head.
The file in the back in your archives opened.
Because it was to the point where like every night when I bought the book when I was a kid, and then every like when I couldn't sleep at night, I would just pull it out and read it until I fell asleep. Like I've read this book so many times. And now there's 2 more, and I'm curious about it. I don't know if we're gonna choose them for the book talks or not, because I'm like now thinking of other books I really liked around this age. And then I'm like, okay,
I've got like a list that I think I'm set for the next year.
Oh, that's fun.
For book
so yeah, but it was really enjoyable to read again. I'm glad it held up.
The more we like do these, and then I was like looking through my list of books I read last year, and I was like, oh, she's got to read this one. It's like, oh, she got to read this one too.
I feel like I should start making like a books I've read list, because I can't keep track of them. Yeah, JC, this book does mean a lot to me apparently.
RP had to look up what a gerund is, and it would confuse the hell out of me if I actually cared.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. But like sneaky little assholes being main characters really means a lot to me.
So this JC thinks this means to you what Little Women means to her, and I think it means to you what In the Forest of the Night means to me. Do I have it right over here? Yeah, I do. This is not the original copy. This is my second copy. Because my first copy...
Can you show me the front again?
Falling apart.
I think I might have read that as a kid, but I'm not positive.
Well, pretend you didn't, because it's on my list.
Well, I don't remember anything about it. I'm just like, that seems... Okay.
The fact that I have it right here, when I don't have any books within arm's reach.
Yeah. But yes, Sage, I like had D&D characters named Sage Jaren. I put Jaren as the last name. I think one of my Baldur's Gate runs, I'm like, what's a good name? I'll name them Sage, and then picked up this book and I was like, oh, yep, that's why I love that name.
Stevie, that's what when the next time we do something like Baldur's Gate or D&D, you should have your Sage and I should have my Pepper. They should party together.
Yeah.
Oh, or one of my many other spice, because I have a bunch of red-headed orcs, and they're all named after red spices.
I also did Will from Ranger's Apprentice.
I'll type it out for you, JC, but it is Amelia Atwater Rhodes. Amelia Atwater Rhodes goes by they, them now, if I remember correctly. And they wrote the Den of Shadows series. Well, it's called the Den of Shadows. Really, she wrote 4 books that are kind of just in the same universe and have a couple repeating characters. That was then later labeled the Den of Shadows series. Then she wrote the Keisha series, which would probably be one of my favorite shifter series in existence, even to this day. And that was also the Keisha series. Book 4 was my first queer novel I ever read by traditional publishing. And it's sapphic. It's both sapphic and they are child-free by choice.
Hey.
For plot reasons, but it was really nice to read that existing in a thing. And then after book 5 of the Keisha series, they started writing more in the Den, which the Keisha series is kind of connected to the Den of Shadows, and like it's a super prequel because it takes place in like the BC, BC eras, and then Den of Shadows is contemporary 2000s.
Yeah. And
Persistence of Memory, which was the first Den of Shadows book they wrote when they started back on them, it has one of my favorite couples in. So I really love Amelia Atwater Rhodes and Sherilyn Kenyon's writings. They're probably consistently two of my favorite authors, because you know sometimes we go through phases and stuff, but they've been two of my favorite authors since I was a teenager. So
yeah, Ranger's Apprentice, I think I read right before I read this, like read a bunch of, maybe it was after, I think it was after. And I read up to book 12 or 14, and then the author made a decision, I fucking hated it, and I dropped the series. But the first couple books have a very good place in my heart. There was a time skip. I hate a time skip. One thing about me, I will hate a time skip. But I probably would choose the first book, but I know you've read it recently too.
Yeah, I was about to say we can't do that one because I've already read that
one. But I have some others I'm going home next week, and so I think I might look at my bookshelf and be like, okay, who here shall be the object of my affections? But yeah, I'm glad this book was so good. And I'm glad it wasn't like blaringly obvious, because little 10-year-old me felt so clever that I figured it out. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, it is well done.
Yeah, it's very well done. The lead is buried. Like it's not that's why when you said it was like heavy-handed, I wanted to be like, no, it's not actually heavy.
Not heavy-handed, but there's like lots of layers to it. Once you look back, you're like, oh my god, it's meant like it's so there. Like it's not that like nothing's mentioned.
I like to say that the cookies were crumbled really well, or there's some thing like that. Sorry, I just realized I forgot to send Matt the invite link for the next stream, so he can't get in without that. I'm just so used to you not needing one that I forget other people.
He's not at my level.
Yo, Ranger's Apprentice was so damn good when I grew up. I loved the first 6. Then it took several years before I got the next few. Still haven't read past 8. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a Let's Talk for book 2.
I'd have to read book 1 again, but I don't have any. Ruins of Gorlan is the first one, and Burning Bridge is the second.
Correct.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll bring in special guest star my middle. One of them read it.
Cool.
So our next one is my pick. And my pick, speaking of Sherilyn Kenyon, we're returning to the Dark Hunter series for now. Despite CB complaining that many of my books are in fact horny, I'm dragging her to the horniest of the Dark Hunter novels.
It's fine.
I'll also, my husband's favorite of the Dark Hunter novels that he has read. Take that how you will.
I wish I didn't have that information. No, it's fine. I like how I'm like, okay, like, I'm like, oh, I'm doing a spicy book. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. And I do a childhood book. And you're like, hey, CB. But it's
I
fine.
need it known I did not select it because it was the horniest.
No, yeah, I know.
The series.
Um,
No, we did not do the first book in The Ranger's Apprentice
No.
already. I read the first book for Nostalgia Train book club, and
I
Stevie
read it a bunch.
So the like very vague rule of the book club is that like basically we're introducing each other to new books. So
yeah.
because we both read it, it does not count.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
Wait,
all,
you've not
all
read
of
the
it is
second
that
one?
we have both read it. Huh?
You haven't read the second one?
I have not. I have not continued the series yet, which is why I'm like, maybe we can do it because like we made an exception for we decided that an exception to the rule is if we are continuing a series.
Yeah.
And it's okay if neither of us have read the next book. So maybe if we decide to read a series together, if one of us has only read book one, that can also be an exception.
I'll reread book one and then be like, do my own little like post on Instagram or whatever saying what I thought of it and if it held up. And then as an addendum to book talks. I like the cover on this one is so different from the other covers.
This one is okay. So what happened was
wait, there's a man's face on that. I was like, oh, it's just a nice like cloudy green.
There is.
And a symbol, and I'm like, no, there's a whole ass man there.
So the thing is, this is how this is the style of the new covers.
Okay.
I had been trying to get the styles of the old covers since those were the ones I read.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find an old one in a nice, like in a large enough file.
Yeah. So
I had to use the new one. But yes, this is the new style of the covers because publishing companies will do that every like decade or decade and a half because they'll be like, oh, the trends for the marketing trends for the covers have changed, so we have to update the covers.
Would love to have a book out there long enough that I have to get a new cover because the marketing change trends.
Oh, as with all the Dark Hunter books, I need to see if you were alive when this one was published.
Yes. This came out in 2012. So I was 9 when it came out, and so I read it when I was 10. Or at least the copyright's 2012, so I assume.
2006.
Hey, I was alive.
I
could walk and talk at that point.
Hell yeah. Okay, so.
Could I read? No, because I was 3. I don't think
I
could read.
I'm doing this romance challenge that I bought through that bookstore that you and I like that's in LA.
Rip Bodice.
Thank you. Through the Rip Bodice. One of the things on there was to read a romance novel older than you are. Or no, there's one to read a romance novel with an MC older than you are. And then there's one to read a romance novel the year you were conceived. And I was like, that's very specific because that's not the same as the year I was born.
No, not for me either.
My children asked about that, and then I had to think about it. Only one of them was not born in the year they were conceived. I was like, y'all are going through all the books that I read when I was not old enough to read them and haven't read them in a long time. Highly enjoyed Sherilyn Kenyon before. Thank you. So we are actually about to end the stream. You got here at the end, but it'll pop back up as a video. And
it's very full of spoilers though. If you want a spoiler 2-sentence thing, in a medieval-esque kingdom, a fantasy kingdom, no magic. I'm
going to do it more concisely than you.
Go ahead.
Noble adopts 3 boys to train as a fake prince.
Yes. To replace a dead real prince.
To take over the kingdom.
Yes. I can speak quickly.
Underwriter over explainer.
There's a lot that happens. Yeah, that's the end of our talk. of
Yes.
books.
And in about 8 minutes on my channel, I will be doing writing sprints and possibly
Yay.
talking about other books that I've read this month, because I haven't read anything else since I read The False Prince, because my brain was like, you can't read anymore until the book talk. And I'm like,
And I deleted it. I have to return this to the library. I don't know when it's due. It's fine.
but yeah, like I said, the next one is Night Embrace, and it should be the 24th.
Yeah, that works for me.
Like, good. I think that's when we have scheduled. So
Yeah, it's
that
not on my
matters.
calendar for some reason, but I trust you.
All right, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. Ooh.